Kei taku whanaunga, Meka, tēnā koe.
Tēnā koe mātai.
Well, we're here in Rawhiti territory, so the first question has to be, kei te aha, how are you?
Kei te ora. Ai, he mahi tonu. It's good to be home. Always is to be home in Manatuke, Rawhiti, so I'm really pleased to be here.
This place, Manatuke, holds a special place in your heart. Why is that?
Born and bred here, Matai. We're in our whare, tipuna, epeha, surrounded by tipunas on the wall. So raised, born here, went to school here, really learnt the craft of hard work here in Manatuke, as did many that came from this area. So it's who I am, it's who I whakapapa to, and I'm really proud about that.
Here in front of your whānau at Epeha Whare, Manatuke Marae, can you tell us what happened back in August the 27th, 2018, the events that led to an incident in which a former staff member of yours alleged that you grabbed her from behind and pulled her, causing some bruising in her arm? What's your recount of that day?
Can I say that I, from the time that the allegations were made up until today, I've always refuted them. There was no altercation, there was no assault. But what the day was for me, Matai, was a very busy day. We had the Prime Minister in Rawhiti, we had 5 Crown Ministers. So I knew, as a local MP, it was going to be an exciting but a very busy day. And the day started off with a breakfast, the suffragette movement. And funnily enough, you know, I am the first Māori woman that's held the seat of Ikaroa Rawhiti, if you didn't know that already. But as I said, the day started very early. I had a reasonably new staff member with me.
How new is new, Meka?
She was about 6 days into her job. She'd never worked in Parliament. She was still finding her feet. And having the Prime Minister in your neck of the woods with a delegation of Crown Ministers had enormous responsibility on myself to make sure the day went well, that people were in the right place, that people were doing the right things. And so, like I said, the breakfast started. We had about 80 to 90 women already in the hotel, ready to hear Jacinda give her speech. The karanga went out. I was constantly looking for my staff member to ensure that she knew where to be. As the karanga went, she broke away from the ranks and went in front of the karanga because she thought that was her job. And so immediately I thought, right, I need to keep an extra eye on my staff member who's probably not been exposed to Māori tikanga.
A little bit of ignorance on her behalf in terms of our tikanga Māori.
Clearly, otherwise you wouldn't break when a karanga goes off and goes in front of the Prime Minister. So after the breakfast, then we went to Te Tino. The Prime Minister and the 5 ministers that were there with her were meeting with Ngāti Porou. As part of the deed of settlement, an annual hui was taking place at Te Tino. So we went from the breakfast, piled into our cars and vehicles, and we went over to Te Tino. Again, a karanga went out, we went in. Obviously, people were excited, Ngāti Porou were excited to have the Prime Minister there. That went to about lunchtime, we broke for lunch. Again, I had a bit of difficulty finding my staff member because there were several staff members with ministers there, and I kept losing sight of mine. And anyway, we got ushered into lunch. I sat with the kaumātuas. They made a seat for Clark and Baby to join our table. I'm watching to make sure everyone's in the right place, everyone's eating. And then I notice ministers leave the dining room, and I got up after Clark and Baby had sat down because we were getting told to go back into the hui. As I walked out, in between the foyer and the outside doors of Te Tino main doors, I saw the Prime Minister having her stand up, surrounded with all the ministers that had accompanied her, except me. So as the local MP, as a Minister in the Crown, I immediately turned to try and find my staff member whose role was to make sure I didn't miss those opportunities. I turned and walked back into the lunchroom and caught her coming out. I asked her to go outside. Clearly, I was disappointed that in my neck of the woods, I had lost the opportunity to stand with the Prime Minister and my colleagues. And I took her outside to show her the lost opportunity and to express to her, as I did, that this was her job. And I was disappointed.
How did you express that disappointment?
It was like, this is your job. See that over there. This is why you're here. Your job is to get me to these stand-ups. And I'm disappointed that I wasn't able to be there. Now, I never raised my voice because I was in a public place. I didn't grab her as I'm alleged to have done because we're in a public place and I don't grab staff. It was a very quick reflection on my expectation of her and the job in less than a minute. We then went back into the hui. The hui carried on. Clearly it finished. I kept looking for my staff member because all the ministers had their staff people with them. I kept losing sight of mine, which went to the point about being inexperienced and not being trained well, to know that when you accompany a minister, the minister always needs to see you and you need to be in the eyesight of the minister. Having done that, having finished the hui, it had been a big day from the breakfast to the hui with Ngāti Porou. As we were going to my vehicle, I said to my staff member, "Do you like milkshakes?" And she said, "I love milkshakes." And I said, "Well, I'm going to take you to the best milkshake store in Gisborne." And off we went to Captain Morgan's. We had milkshake. We talked about, I even remember the flavour that she had. She had chocolate, I had lime. And then after that, I took her back to the airport and she went home. 2 days later, I got a phone call from the Prime Minister's office. It completely blindsided me, Matai. It was something I completely didn't know was coming. And the conversation from the Prime Minister's office went like this: "We have received a complaint that you manhandled one of your staff members 2 days ago in Gisborne." I immediately said, I absolutely refute those allegations. I did not touch my staff member. I growled her for not doing her job, but I didn't touch her.
And what was their response?
Their response was, "Meka, you have to hold fire. The allegations are serious and we need to do further investigations." Now, I was in Wellington at the time that I got called. I continued to say, I want to meet, so I could put my side of the story. I wasn't accorded that opportunity.
Really?
No. I was told on the phone I'd had to wait. I started to get really nervous that things were going to move so fast and I would never be able to get my side of the story across. So despite saying I'm in Wellington, I'm available to meet, 20 hours later, from the time I got the first call from the Prime Minister's office, the Prime Minister called me and said, "Meka, this is too serious. I have to investigate." I said at the time, I continue to refute the allegations. It did not happen. But Prime Minister, I will stand by your decision to undertake an investigation. I will relinquish my ministerial portfolio. So important that I feel that an investigation needed to get to the bottom of it. I offered up my portfolios. I offered up to stand aside. I asked the Prime Minister, and to her credit, she supported me in this, that I wanted the investigation to be independent and I wanted the investigation to be quick. And she gave me that guarantee. And I, in return, promised the Prime Minister I would cooperate fully with the investigation.
You've got your whānau who are absolutely worried about their mokopuna, their mum, their daughter. How difficult was that period for you?
It wasn't easy. It was a challenge. I've been known to look after my family. I wanted to protect them. The day that the investigation was initiated and I stood down, I wanted to reach out to them, as you do, to tell your own first and foremost, so they didn't hear it through the media. I didn't really get that chance to do that. The press release was out, the news outlets picked it up, it was on social media, and that was a regret that I didn't get the opportunity to call my two sons and my mum to tell them this is coming up, and to give them my assurances that I didn't do any of what I was accused of. But as it turned out, it was a challenge, and like I said, I consistently committed to working with the investigator to put my side of the story across.
Meka, unlike the Claire Curran situation, the Prime Minister, she acted very swiftly to demote you. The incident at Te Tino Porou happened on a Monday. By Thursday, you, on your own accord, as you've just told us, stood aside from your ministerial portfolios and the investigation had begun. Does that sit well with you, that there was enough doubt in the Prime Minister's mind that she accepted the former staff member's word over yours?
Look, the Prime Minister has been an absolute supporter of mine since this has happened, and continues to be a supporter of mine. She made a decision on the information she had available and the time she had available. Claire resigned, and I was never ever going to resign because I did nothing wrong.
Let's turn to the David Patton report. He was the lawyer that was brought in to investigate the incident, and in the wash he deemed that it was probable that the staff member's account of events was more likely than yours. You, of course, as you say, refute that. Because probable, that word says to me, probably did do it.
And like I said, I always refute it and continue to refute the allegations. Matai, I've been fortunate enough, been raised in Manatukia, working in the shearing sheds, picking tomatoes around Poverty Bay Flats, worked in the freezing works at Whakatū, and I've realised that you can't achieve anything by your lonesome, that you actually need a team. And I've taken those values of working in a team in my sporting career and in my life, in my career life. And so team, to me, and having good people around me is really critical, and is one of the key successes of the achievements I've been able to gain, because I've actually worked with really good people. And I continue to do that, work with really good teams, very strong teams. And so Mr. Patton's report, you've seen it, you can read it for yourself. The concern I had during the investigation was the report got leaked. I felt that again, here we go. I'm cooperating fully with the investigation. The report's been leaked, and then the allegations swirled again about being bullying, about being a bully, about assault, and yet the report hadn't been completed. But like I say, he made his findings. The Prime Minister made her call. I accepted her call, but the Prime Minister also said there were parts of the report that I maintain and refuted, and I've just shared that with you tonight.
Meka, do you think because of it might have been a perception that you are, as you say, you are an athletic, strong-minded woman. There may be a perception that you are a bully, that you are that type of person.
Well, I come from a long line of strong women and men that come from places like this. I put so much effort into working with successful team members. I play the team. I am part of a team, and I invest so much time into the team. Of course, as a manager, you have expectations, and I'm no different. Does that make me a bully? No. It's just really clear that if we are going to work in a space of service to our people, which is the role that I choose to be in it, then we need to do our absolute best. And I'll help you achieve it, because your success is my success. It doesn't make me a bully.
So what have you been doing now, since the incident, up until now? What have you been doing in terms of regaining the confidence of your boss, Jacinda Ardern, the Prime Minister, and indeed the public? Are you taking anger management classes?
Well, since I was relinquished of my portfolios, it's given me time to reflect on how people perceive me, how I can take stock of the lessons that this incident has taught me. Yes, I have done some mindfulness courses. Yes, I've sought and had counselling. Yes, I've done cultural counselling. Yes, I'm doing mentoring. Yes, I'm doing coaching. And I continue to do that today because I need to prove myself to the Prime Minister and to the general public that I'm taking and using this time wisely to improve the way that I can communicate with my colleagues, with my peers, with the general public. I'm so excited about this job.
You're passionate as well.
I love the job. It's an absolute honour to serve the people of Ikaroa Rawhiti, of the Tai Rawhiti. It's not anywhere everybody's cup of tea, and I've come into this role with high expectations of myself to deliver, and I'm passionate about that. And so working in my team and getting my team around me and making sure that I'm fit to lead is important to me, and that's what I've been doing since August last year.
For many of us here at the Flax Roots level, and most definitely for your whānau that are here tonight, we're not too interested in the Wellington Beltway politics, but it's been difficult to watch this all play out in the media, the allegations of bullying, intimidation, reports using words like assault and disgraced, that you run a toxic office. That's totally out of kilter with the person that Ikaroa Rawhiti voted for. Yeah.
There were some misleading and untruths that certain media said about the incident in relation to myself and my office. Like I've shared with you, I pride myself with the people that choose to work with me. The skills and the passion that they bring feeds me. Ikaroa Rawhiti, as you know, is a big electorate from up the far east coast right down to Wainuamata. It's not easy to be in all the places at once. So for me, it's important that I have such a functioning and strong team around me, and I believe I've got that. And that's how I meet those expectations of delivering to our people and continue to do that today.
Do you think you've done enough to regain the confidence of the Prime Minister, Jacinda Ardern?
That'll be really a question that you need to ask her. I'm, like I committed to her, worked really hard and continue to work hard to regain her confidence. I work really hard to regain the confidence of the public. All I can do is express how fortunate I am and the opportunity to put my story across Matai around what happened, what am I doing, but more importantly, what I'm looking forward to. And there's so much to look forward to.
What are some of the things to look forward to, Meka? Because I can sense this excitement, this passion that you have for our electorate. There's no doubting that.
Well, housing is a big issue, and just recently I ran 4 public hui right throughout Ikaroa Rawhiti. I think I had about 300 people turn up at those hui. It's an important issue for our whānau, not enough homes. And the people that came to our hui here in Gisborne were so passionate about not blaming, but actually working together to help the government address the shortage of homes. That's huge. Trade. I've always, in my maiden speech when I came into Parliament, talked about working alongside iwi, unlocking the potential around Māori-owned assets, you know, creating pathways for our rangatahi. So I'm passionate about taking our $50 billion Māori economy asset base and making it work for our rangatahi. I'm passionate about that because that means Māori in the box seat to make those decisions that are going to help our rangatahi.
Do you want to be a Labour minister again and get those portfolios back? Is that the goal?
Yes.
The Prime Minister has indicated, Meka, that she'd keep the door open for you if you're not reappointed a minister before the end of the year. What does that mean for you? What does that mean for Meka Whaitiri?
Well, I've committed to be here till 2020, which is the next general election. When I came into this role, Matai, I put a timeline on myself. I said I'd do it for 10 years, and I came in 2013, and you do the math, 10 years is 2023. And the reason why I seriously put that timeline on myself is if I hadn't delivered anything tangible to the people I represent, then I should move over and let someone else have a go. The fact that we got into government in 2017 and been appointed as a Crown Minister, I can't express how proud I was, not for myself, but for the people I represent. Because the skill sets that I think I bring to the role is not just the area I come from, the upbringing that I have, the values I share, but I've been a senior public servant. I've been a deputy chief executive. You know, I've been a negotiator for Rongo Whakaata. I've been a CE for Ngāti Kahungunu. And with this coalition government, we are trying to get greater opportunities for Māori in the Crown. And so I lay my experience, you know, and my passion that I bring to the job to those that are going to make the decision whether I stay or I don't. But right now, the fire's still burning inside me, Matai, despite what happened last year. I can see clearly the opportunities going forward. I'm excited about where Māoridom and where iwi are going, and I just want to help deliver on the government, the coalition government, the Labour Party's ambitious goal of delivering to all New Zealanders, and particularly for our people.
I can't help but think of your mate Parikura as we're sitting here. And did you think about people like Parikura and the legacy that you're carrying, his legacy during this time?
When you mention Parikura, I think of his big jandals. Or his shoes that he'll leave outside and someone will pinch his shoes. But no, I'm privileged to have been mentored by Parikura as he mentored many. I'm privileged that he saw in me someone that could do a role like this. So absolutely I think of him. I think of him every day, like I think of my dad.
Your dad who's up on the wall behind us?
Yep, and our tipunas, because, you know, they had high expectations. I do believe my dad was proud of me. I do think I was the favourite. But just those men that Parikura particularly, my dad.
They were rocks in your life, eh?
Absolutely my foundation. My guidance in life, my wairua guidance, and I miss them. I miss them. But I hope that they're sitting there thinking, kia ora kaha Meka, carry on.
Is there anything you want to say to your friends and whānau that supported you through a very difficult period in your life?
I'm just, again, so fortunate, Matai, that when it all came out, the breadth of people that contacted me, the Māori woman, the judges, the lawyers, the activists, mayors throughout my electorate. I've got 8 mayors. My staff, both former and past. I even had staff from ministers' offices so concerned about what was going and were reaching out to me. I had colleagues, both within the Māori caucus and the wider caucus. I had people offering me safe havens. Meka, come here. Meka, come here. We don't believe any of it, and we're offering you the safe haven. I even had the Silver Fern coach, a good friend of mine, Nolene, offer me a home or escape to get away from it all. So to those that reached out, and I'm sorry I haven't responded to each and every one of them, but know this, that I am so thankful. They helped me, not to mention my family too, and my friends, helped me go through a pull me through a very difficult time. I'm not fully through it, but I'm turning the corner because there's so much mahi to do in the electorate. So for all the family and friends that reached out, ngā mihi kia koutou.
Ka pai, kia ora Meka. Thank you for coming and sharing your whakaaro, your kōrero with your whānau. I think this is the first time you've spoken in this way about the incident and the difficult period you went through last year up until now. So kia hora te marino, kia whakapapapaunamu te moana, kia tere te kā rohirohi. May the calm be widespread, may the sea glisten like greenstone, and may the shimmer of Tai Rawhiti summer dance across your pathway. Ngā mihi nui ki a koe.
Tēnā koe mātai, ngā mihi.